Good morning. I am here to introduce the next mini project for the Greek curator. We had to do a little bit of a twist here from things that we've done in the past. Years ago, when we were doing the scrapbook, we did something called a Pictoword, where you take a word and then give the definition of the word through images that you incorporate into the letters. So each letter has a different image or symbol that is in the kind of a shape of that letter. So you spell out the word, but then the definition is given within those little pictures. My example, and this is backwards, is teacher. I've got a ruler, a pink eraser, apple, this is a paper clip, a little diploma, a composition book, and a pencil, and I will have this uploaded correctly so you can see it, not backwards, but this is an example of a Pictoword. Well, then we went to something a little more difficult, more complex, called a spoke diagram, and you made connections between the different information you learn about in the next chapter. But because we're not here in class together to talk about how to do the spoke diagram, we decided to go back to this Pictoword. Much easier, simpler, better for you at home, okay? So, this project is going to have a little bit of a funky due date, and I'm going to talk about that on a Zoom with you guys, but I just want to introduce it now and talk to you a little bit about what you need. So, you're going to need the PDF of History Alive Chapter 26. I'm going to have that up for you, as well as the recording of me reading it. You will also need your history composition book, your history journal. If you do not have your history journal because you left it at school before we were rushed out, then you can just open up a Google Doc and start it over, or grab a piece of scratch paper or lined paper and do your notes on there. This is a chapter you do have to do notes on, and they do need to be turned in to me. So you get to choose what kind of notes you want to take. I just want to remind you of a few we've done in the past. So we've done timelines and maps and visuals, like our monkey trees that we loved at the beginning of the school year. We've done things like flow charts and diagrams. We have done T-charts and other images. We have also done, let's see what other things I have in here. You're dog-eared. Webs. And then one of our favorites, well, for some of us, it is definitely a favorite, is our Cornell notes, which I had dog-eared and I can't find it, but that's there too. Cornell notes, along with just one big ginormous visual note page like we did for the Silk Road. Okay, it's got to be here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Here are our Cornell notes if you forget how to do them, okay? So I'll take some pictures of those as well as examples for you to look at. So you will need to read chapter 26, take notes on that chapter. Chapter 26 is about 4 governments that arose during ancient Greek times. You're going to, if I was to take notes, I would probably do, well, you could do it in many ways, but I like visual notes. But if you did visual notes, great. If you didn't, you could do the web and have monarchy in a big circle and then have all the information around it and do one for each of the others. You could do like a 4 chart instead of a T chart, have it like each one on the top, all 4, and then just kind of list information, or Cornell notes, however you want to do it, lots of different ways. Then you're going to create either digitally or on paper. I made this morning. I actually had an example like this already, but it's at school. And each letter represents a different piece of information about teacher, right? Versus you're going to pick one of the governments, and you're going to do images to help. Sorry, my dog is barking. Indy, give me a second. Oh, the love of teaching from home. Anyway, you're going to pick one government, and you're going to write out the government name, like monarchy, or oligarchy, or tyranny, or democracy, and you're going to make little images for each of the letters to spell out the word that you've chosen. I think the easiest way to do this would be picking the government that your city-state that you chose for the flag had. If you can't figure that out, because some of the information we have about those city-states, they don't tell us what kind of government they had, or they changed throughout. I started with one. Most of them ended up democracy by the end. So democracy's safe to choose. But if not, pick one that you can find, or one that you find is most interesting, and that's what you're going to make it on. Okay, and look in Google Classroom under the Greek project for the PDF, for the recording of me reading the chapter, the PDF chapter 26. You need to make those notes however you'd like. I'll put some example pictures of our notes that we've done in past in case you don't have your history journal. And then I will give you this example. You can also just Google Pictowords and see if there's some examples out there that you can find. But simple example is if you've chosen monarchy, those are kings, maybe the M is a crown, starting like that, okay? Thinking of all the different things. So the other thing I want to say too is I had a checkoff list for you for the map from a peer review, but the only peer review checkoff list I have for this chapter is from that spoke diagram that we used to do. So I'm just going to give you a list of things you need to have in our how-to. But there's going to be like a certain number of facts you need to include, following classroom art expectations the best you can, etc. And we'll go from there. So happy drawing!